As it relates to grading the president, I just used his own words. He said he'd make us wealthier and healthier, and we're poorer and sicker, perishing because Donald Trump didn't just flip off a worker at Ford. He gave a middle finger to the entire American automobile manufacturing sector.
The agency is now enforcing English language proficiency for truck drivers. Mr. Governor, what is your reaction?
On that issue, there's a lot of back and forth between the administration, Secretary Duffy's office, my office, on the new rules and regulations that were advanced by the Trump administration recently in that space. We've been trying to work through some of those differences. It's on a myriad of issues, not just that issue as it relates to the ride-along and some of those new enforcement requirements that have been advanced and established by the federal government. As it relates to grading the president, I just used his own words. He said he'd make us wealthier and healthier, and we're poorer and sicker, period. You saw the new manufacturing numbers that just came out. I mean, that was one of his top priorities. It was one of his big promises. He's lost manufacturing jobs. I mean, this economy, the job creation is the lowest since the recession, 2003. It's a wrecking ball presidency. It's been a disaster, and it continues to unfold in extraordinary ways. An abject failure. F. And I don't think there's any objective way to suggest otherwise unless you're on the payroll. It's just a remarkable series of mistakes. You saw what just happened with Prime Minister Carney's visit to China with President Xi. He got an exemption to now start to flood the Canadian market, not with American manufactured cars, but Chinese manufactured cars, by lowering the tariff, it was 100% down to 9%. Turning his back on American manufacturing because Donald Trump didn't just flip off a worker at Ford, he gave a middle finger to the entire American automobile manufacturing sector. And China continues to flood the zone. I said it during the State of the State, and I refer back to my comments in detail what I mean by that. This is an extraordinary wrecking ball presidency. He is flailing in every category on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, the courts, even those that he appointed, are rejecting this administration and its policies. So I cannot impress upon you more. I may be generous with that grade of F. It was that night before he federalized 4,000 National Guard, sent 700 active duty Marines, not overseas, but to the second largest city in the United States. And in the ensuing months, we've seen BORTAC teams, people dressed up, tactical gear, Apache helicopters, descending streets all across America, masked men, without providing identification, and we're in court on that. I was proud to sign the first anti-masking bill in this country. He is trying to stoke a civil war in this country. It is a disgrace what he's doing in Minneapolis. It is a disgrace what he's doing all across the United States of America, terrorizing communities. It is a disgrace what his Department of Homeland Security is putting out. I mean, these ads evoking the worst, the 1930s, very intentionally stoking tensions, white supremacy being promoted actively by this administration, the corruption and graft, the likes of which we've never seen in modern history, modern world history. Modern world history. And I can give you chapter and verse on that. None of this is normal, and it cannot be normalized. So we take it very seriously. 53 lawsuits and counting, overwhelming success in terms of our litigation posture, very aggressive in calling this out, drawing lines literally, not just figuratively. Once again, another example of overreach by the Trump administration, suing us and suing the people of California for Prop 50, only to once again be rejected in that 2-1 decision that came out this week. There's not enough time, you don't have enough tape for me to walk through just what he's done in the last week, let alone the last month and last year. So, no, and F. Of course, we game all that out. I'm working, and I'll answer that, and it's a good segue. We have and you've seen some podcasts with other governors where we've publicly been able to engage, comparing notes privately. We do that very consistently. Governor Walz and I back and forth last few days. The mayor, Minneapolis as well, at all levels. I mean, this is code red in this country. It's not flashing yellows. It's code red in the United States of America. It's the 250th anniversary of our founding fathers this year. We're going to be celebrating in July. Best of the Roman Republic, Greek democracy, co-equal branches of government, the rule of law, not the rule of Don. And so I hope it's dawning on every single damn person, Republicans and Democrats, what we are up against. We will lose our republic unless we don't speak out. And so I just applaud people that are peacefully protesting. I applaud people of courage and conviction. I applaud these governors and mayors for standing firm, and advocates for doing the same peacefully, using the rule of law, due process, the courts. I plead with the American people to wake up to what's going on. We have that chance. Take back the House of Representatives and take back the Senate. If we do our job, popular sovereignty, we do our job. And so I'm going to try to do my part. I've got a year left, and continue to do my part as a private citizen, and I hope we all do as well.
Would you consider deploying the National Guard to protect citizens against ICE officers?
Well, we've always, let me step back. From the first week I was in office, I deployed the National Guard, 294 National Guard to the border. And one of the largest deployments in California history during 2 incidents that occurred, 2 issues that precipitated that distribution, or rather deployment of the National Guard. That was during some of the unrest that we were experiencing, and sort of peak COVID and the unrest in the streets in Southern California, and recently over 3,000 to help with fire recovery in Southern California. We have rattlesnake teams that I've deployed that are doing prevention work, fire prevention work throughout the state. We have task forces. We have National Guard representatives working on counter-narcotics here in San Francisco and throughout the region in the Bay Area, JAGs, helping support the DA's office and others. So the question is, do I support deploying the National Guard when and if necessary, depending on criteria and conditions? When and if necessary, depending on criteria and conditions. So I won't speculate beyond that what that would look like, but only as necessary.
Governor, I know the budget of homelessness, Governor. We obviously are hearing the big commitment coming from the state. We heard David Lurie, the commitment that comes from the city. Do you expect any federal dollars to come to help these?
Come on. I mean, the president moved forward. They said the private thing out loud with their cuts to behavioral health. And I just want to remind you, every time there's a mass shooting, what is the one thing they fall back on? It's not the gun, it's mental health. You know where their priorities are. It was reflected. They were just humiliated, and there was such backlash that they had to stand down on that promotion of those significant behavioral health cuts. He is trying to dismantle many different federal agencies. We've seen what he's done to the Department of Education. You see what he's doing in real time to FEMA. And he's doing the same to HUD as we know it. So no, I don't expect they will do anything but use this issue as a cudgel to advance their political agenda, but not an open hand, always a closed fist. I'm sorry.
Are you open to your statements that you're trying to head off the proposed wealth tax? What would a compromise look like to you that you might?
I don't know what there is to compromise. It's a badly drafted effort. It's already had an outsized impact on the state. It does not support our public educators. It does not support. Donald Trump decided to make MLK Day Donald Trump Day. And you couldn't, and you're not now able to go into federal parks for free. MLK Day now been shifted to Trump Day. Again, what more evidence do we need on what the hell is going on in the United States of America? MLK Day in California, we are announcing today we're making 200 parks in California free on MLK Day. We're also celebrating 100th anniversary of Black History Month in February. And we're very proud that we were able to fundraise privately to offset the costs of the general fund for free access to 200 parks across the state. Just wanted to highlight that. That is not supported in the current proposal that's out on the streets. So we'll see where it all lands. I've been pretty clear at a state level. This is not something that will allow us to be competitive. The LAO just spelled it out. Detail, it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars a year in reduced revenue to the state, which put enormous pressure on those same programs that we highlighted earlier. It may have its populist appeal as a headline. I deeply understand that. And I get the politics of it intimately. I've been on the receiving end of that. But read the initiative, understand what it does at a state level, and also reflect on the overwhelming opposition, including from many folks in labor. I don't speak for labor, but they have spoken to me, leaders of many unions, in their opposition of this idea that is just beginning to get a few signatures.
On the funded in the budget or by the state legislature, you see a lot of these ballots proposed and then
No, I mean, there's no, where's the money going to come from? Come on. No, it doesn't exist.
Are you open other revenue-generating proposals to prevent millions of people from falling?
Yeah, continue to grow the economy. $42.3 billion of new revenue that just flew in to the general. No, I want to repeat that. $42.3 billion of revenue that we didn't expect last year. I mean, the revenue generators are our small businesses and entrepreneurs and innovators that are out there, and taking risks and making a go with things. And so I'm very proud of that. I want to keep that moving. And you saw the December numbers were even better. I mean, that number is even higher. And so I hope that momentum continues January, February, March. And I just think that's the approach we need to be taking is sort of invest in our economic engines. It's reflected in our R&D tax credits, reflected in my budget for higher education, where we're substantially increasing our investments as the federal government's decreasing their investments into higher education. We're increasing them, which is part of our formula for success. And so that conveyor belt for talent is ways where we can generate the conditions where we can continue to thrive, grow our budgets, grow our revenue, grow our economy. I mean, I'm not. No, look, I have a big agenda this next year, and I've just said what I think, and I've been consistent for years and years on this. At a state level, this is what I fear, that it will put us in a very uncompetitive position, and I think there's some evidence to bear fruit to that. And this particular initiative is just really badly drafted in the context of supporting all those other causes that I hold dear, that I've been advocating for, that I've been supporting and promoting, expanded child care and preschool for all, and the work I'm doing, high-dose tutoring and community schools. Those are not included in this. And I just think that's substance abuse treatment is not. Housing is not. And so those things matter. And so on every level, so I just expressed that. I can't solve for everything. I just raised $118 million on Prop 50, and we laid out some of our agenda and the state of the state, and I have an OKR process that no one wants to hear more about. They're smiling because it drives my agencies and department heads crazy. Those are objectives and key results. It's what we measure every month, and it literally, no more exciting meetings than the ones we have together going through OKRs.